When people start to pull away, when they no longer reach out, when the warmth of connection feels like it's fading, it's easy to let hurt settle in. But know this: how others choose to act is not a reflection of your worth. Their distance doesn't define your value. You are whole and complete just as you are. Self-worth is a deep, personal understanding that who you are at your core is valuable, important, and deserving of love and respect. This sense of self-worth isn't tied to how others view you, how they treat you, or whether they choose to be present in your life. When someone distances themselves or ignores you, it can be natural to question yourself, wondering what you might have done wrong or whether something is lacking within you. But this is precisely when it's essential to remember that self-worth is an inner quality untouched by the shifting behaviors or choices of others. When someone steps back, it's not a sign that you are less than you were before. It's often a reflection of something within them, their own journey, circumstances, or personal needs. Yet many of us have been conditioned to take other people's behavior personally, as though it mirrors something about our worth. When someone doesn't value or prioritize you, it can feel like a statement about who you are. But truly, it says more about where they are in their own life. People have their reasons, their issues, their own set of beliefs and experiences that shape how they relate to others. Allowing their behavior to determine your self-worth is like giving them power over your innermost self. Cultivating a resilient sense of self-worth is about trusting your own value even when others may not see it. It's knowing that your worth is inherent and not based on validation or approval from the outside. Imagine how it would feel to wake up each day with a deep, unwavering sense of being enough regardless of what anyone else thinks or says. When this feeling lives within you, the actions of others become less impactful. Their approval or disapproval becomes a passing experience rather than a defining moment. Their opinions become a reflection of them rather than a reflection of you. This doesn't mean you won't feel the sting when someone pulls away or doesn't reciprocate your attention. It's natural to feel disappointed, hurt, or even confused. Yet, with a strong sense of self-worth, you can recognize those feelings without letting them diminish you. You can understand that their distance is their choice, and it doesn't alter the value you bring to the world. Self-worth is recognizing that you are whole and complete regardless of who chooses to be in your life. Embracing this perspective requires conscious work and a gentle willingness to release the need for external validation. Often the need for validation is rooted in old beliefs, in times when we learned that our worth came from pleasing others or gaining approval. But those are just stories we carry. They don't reflect the true nature of who we are. Self-worth is knowing deep down that you are here for a reason, that you are worthy of love, respect, and kindness just as you are. One of the greatest ways to reinforce self-worth is through self-compassion. When someone distances themselves, it's easy to turn against yourself, asking what you did wrong or how you might be different. But self-compassion offers you a kinder way of responding. Instead of judgment, bring understanding to yourself. Instead of criticism, bring gentleness. Remind yourself that your worth is not in question. This is just a part of life's ebb and flow. People may come and go, but your worth remains steady, unwavering, like the roots of a strong tree. This sense of self-worth becomes a guiding light, helping you move through life with confidence. It allows you to let go of relationships that no longer serve you, trusting that you will be okay on your own. When people leave or distance themselves, it no longer has the power to shake you deeply because your foundation is within. You aren't looking to them for your worth. You are simply sharing in the experience of connection without making it a source of your identity. A valuable aspect of self-worth is recognizing your own needs and honoring them. Sometimes when people pull away, we chase them, hoping to bring them back, to restore a sense of connection. But when you have a strong sense of self-worth, you understand that you deserve relationships that feel mutual and fulfilling. You can stand firm knowing that if someone is meant to be in your life, they will be there in a way that respects and values who you are. You no longer need to settle for one-sided connections or cling to relationships out of a need for validation. Ultimately, self-worth frees you. It liberates you from the endless cycle of seeking approval, from wondering if you're enough, from bending over backward to meet others' expectations. It lets you show up authentically, knowing that the right people will love and appreciate you for exactly who you are. And when others step back, it gives you the courage to continue forward without losing sight of your inherent value. In every experience, self-worth becomes a quiet assurance that rests within, steady and unchanging. It reminds you that you are a whole person capable of giving and receiving love, deserving of kindness and respect. And with this awareness, the actions of others become simply that, actions. They are not indicators of your worth, nor reflections of your value. Self-worth is yours, a constant presence reminding you that you are enough, just as you are. When faced with periods of loneliness, separation, or distance from others, there lies an incredible opportunity for growth through turning inward. Instead of viewing solitude as a negative space or an experience to avoid, one can see it as a gift, a precious chance to reconnect with oneself, explore deeply held beliefs, and rediscover personal strength. Turning inward is more than just reflecting on the surface level of who we are. It's a journey of self-discovery, self-care, and self-empowerment that allows us to uncover new dimensions of our being. Growth doesn't always come from external validation or social interactions. In fact, some of the most profound growth arises from moments of solitude. When distractions fall away, we are left with ourselves, our thoughts, and the stillness that brings clarity. While this can feel uncomfortable, especially if we're used to relying on others for reassurance, it also serves as a transformative experience. It's within this silence that our true self emerges, unfiltered and authentic, inviting us to observe without judgment. In turning inward, we create the space to understand ourselves at a deeper level. We begin to recognize the beliefs and patterns that shape our experiences, many of which we may have adopted unconsciously. Often people carry limiting beliefs, ideas, or past hurts that they've never fully addressed, yet these continue to influence their self-perception and relationships. Taking time to look within allows us to shine a light on these internal narratives, which can then be healed, released, or transformed. Turning inward for growth is also about developing self-compassion. When we're alone, we become more aware of our inner dialogue, and it's common to notice how harshly we sometimes speak to ourselves. Instead of judging this, we can take this moment as an opportunity to soften, to bring kindness and understanding into the way we relate to ourselves. We may begin to realize that we deserve the same love and respect we often give to others. Learning to be gentle with ourselves, especially during challenging moments, cultivates inner strength and resilience. Self-compassion helps us to rebuild a loving relationship with ourselves. We begin to value who we are independently of anyone else's opinion or validation. This internal bond strengthens as we honor our needs, validate our feelings, and accept ourselves fully, even the parts we've been reluctant to face. In nurturing this relationship, we start to feel a sense of wholeness and completeness within ourselves, creating a foundation that isn't easily shaken by the external world. Turning inward also invites us to explore what truly matters to us. When we step away from societal pressures, expectations, and even the influence of those closest to us, we gain clarity about our own values and desires. What brings us joy? What dreams have we set aside? What kind of life do we truly want to live? Solitude creates the perfect environment for these questions to emerge. It allows us to reimagine our life, not based on what others think is best for us, but from a genuine connection to our heart's desires. Sometimes this process of inner exploration reveals parts of us that are in need of healing. Painful memories, past regrets, and unresolved emotions may rise to the surface, asking to be acknowledged. While it can be tempting to push these feelings away, turning inward for growth means allowing ourselves to feel and heal. It means facing our pain with courage, understanding, and patience. By doing so, we begin to release emotional baggage, freeing ourselves from the weight of the past and making space for new experiences and positive emotions to take root. This journey inward also fosters a deep sense of trust in ourselves. We become more attuned to our intuition, that quiet inner voice that often gets drowned out by the noise of the world. The more we listen to this inner guidance, the more confident we become in making decisions that align with our authentic self. We realize that we have everything we need within us to navigate life, make wise choices, and overcome challenges. Turning inward teaches us to honor this inner wisdom and trust in our ability to create a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling. Embracing solitude in this way also helps us become less reliant on external sources of happiness. When we find contentment and purpose within ourselves, we're less likely to seek approval, recognition, or love from others as a means of filling any void. Instead, we approach relationships from a place of wholeness, able to give and receive love freely without dependency. This empowers us to build healthier, more balanced relationships because we're not looking for someone else to complete us. We're simply inviting them to share in the completeness we've already found within. Ultimately, turning inward for growth allows us to reconnect with our own essence. It is a powerful act of self-respect, where we choose to prioritize our inner well-being and personal evolution. This journey may not always be easy, and it can involve facing parts of ourselves we'd rather avoid, but it's deeply rewarding. We emerge from this process with a greater sense of peace, resilience, and clarity about who we are and what we want. Growth from within is sustainable growth. It's a transformation that doesn't depend on circumstances or other people, but comes from a profound shift in how we relate to ourselves. It's a journey of coming home to who we truly are, embracing all that we find, and knowing that our true worth lies not in what we achieve or who we know, but in the depth of our connection to ourselves. By turning inward, we plant the seeds of self-love, understanding, and personal strength, which flourish as we continue to nurture them. This inner journey is one of life's greatest gifts, offering us not just growth, but a deeper, lasting sense of fulfillment. Reclaiming energy is about recognizing the power we have to take back control of our mental, emotional, and physical resources. Often we unknowingly give away our energy to things that drain us, whether it's the lingering thoughts of a past relationship, the unresolved tension of a difficult conversation, or the endless demands of a busy life. Reclaiming our energy is about gathering back those scattered pieces of ourselves and reinvesting them where they can truly serve our well-being, our growth, and our happiness. One of the first steps in reclaiming energy is identifying the areas where we're currently leaking it. Many of us allow our energy to be spread thin, often without even realizing it. We may hold on to unresolved grievances, cling to old stories that no longer serve us, or engage in repetitive thoughts that drain our emotional reserves. Relationships can also be a source of energy depletion. Sometimes we stay in situations out of obligation, guilt, or fear, not recognizing that these connections may be taking more from us than they give. By acknowledging these drains, we can make conscious choices to either resolve, release, or reframe these situations, allowing ourselves to move forward with renewed focus. Reclaiming energy often means letting go. This can be a challenging process as it involves releasing attachments to things, people, or ideas we've held on to. Yet, by letting go, we free up valuable energy that can be directed toward what truly matters to us. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or erasing the past. Rather, it means acknowledging that certain experiences have served their purpose. They've taught us lessons, brought us insights, and even helped us grow. However, holding on to them only burdens us, tying us to an emotional weight that limits our potential. By letting go, we create space for fresh energy, new perspectives, and more fulfilling experiences. Another essential aspect of reclaiming energy is setting boundaries. When we lack boundaries, we often end up overcommitting, saying yes when we want to say no, or giving more of ourselves than we have to give. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect, a way of telling ourselves and others that our time, energy, and well-being are valuable. Healthy boundaries don't isolate us, they create clear lines that allow us to interact with others in ways that are balanced and sustainable. By saying no to what doesn't serve us, we are able to say yes to what does, ensuring that our energy is invested in activities and relationships that align with our values and goals. Reclaiming energy also involves self-care, which can take many forms. It might mean taking time each day to be quiet and still, allowing ourselves to recharge and replenish. It might mean engaging in activities that bring joy, stimulate creativity, or promote relaxation. Self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. When we take care of our own needs, we build a strong foundation that allows us to be present and engaged in the world around us. Our energy is limited, and if we're constantly giving it away without taking time to recharge, we run the risk of burning out. Prioritizing self-care is an essential way of honoring our own energy and ensuring we have the vitality to pursue our dreams and nurture our relationships. The act of reclaiming energy also requires us to examine our thoughts and beliefs. Sometimes our minds can become filled with limiting beliefs, negative self-talk, or worries about the future. These thoughts can be draining, taking up mental space and leaving us feeling tired or defeated. By becoming aware of these patterns, we can consciously shift our focus to more empowering thoughts. Practicing mindfulness, gratitude, and positive self-affirmation are ways to redirect our mental energy, helping us to feel more in control and resilient. Reclaiming energy from unproductive thoughts isn't about ignoring challenges, but rather about choosing to invest our mental focus in thoughts that uplift us rather than hold us back. Physical health plays a crucial role in our overall energy levels, and reclaiming energy often includes paying attention to our physical well-being. Simple practices like regular exercise, nutritious eating, and adequate sleep can have a profound effect on our energy levels. When we take care of our bodies, we're better able to manage stress, think clearly, and maintain stamina. Physical health and mental clarity go hand in hand, so by nurturing our bodies, we are in turn reclaiming our vitality and ensuring we have the energy to live fully. Lastly, reclaiming energy is about connecting with our purpose. When we live with a sense of purpose, we channel our energy into activities and goals that are meaningful to us. This sense of alignment can be incredibly energizing, as it reminds us of why we do what we do. When we're on a path that feels authentic and fulfilling, we don't need to push ourselves as hard because we're naturally fueled by a deep sense of motivation. Reclaiming energy, therefore, also involves checking in with ourselves regularly, asking whether we're living in a way that feels true to our own aspirations. Reclaiming our energy is a journey of self-awareness and self-empowerment. It's about taking responsibility for where and how we invest our mental, emotional, and physical resources. As we become more intentional in these areas, we start to feel more balanced, alive, and focused. We recognize that our energy is precious and that by reclaiming it, we're choosing to prioritize our well-being, happiness, and personal growth. This conscious redirection of energy helps us move forward with greater clarity and strength, enabling us to build a life that reflects our truest self. By reclaiming our energy, we not only nourish ourselves, but also create a ripple effect that brings positivity, resilience, and inspiration to the people around us. Acceptance and letting go are two of the most liberating yet challenging acts we can bring into our lives. They are processes that invite us to release what we cannot control, to embrace reality as it is, and to find peace in circumstances that may initially feel painful or unfair. When we practice acceptance, we're not giving up or resigning ourselves to a less fulfilling life. Rather, we are acknowledging the situation for what it is without resistance. Acceptance opens the door for healing, growth, and inner peace, allowing us to live more fully and authentically. One of the first steps in acceptance is understanding that life does not always unfold according to our desires or expectations. There are events we cannot change, no matter how hard we try. This may be a difficult truth to accept, especially when we have invested time, effort, or love into a particular outcome. However, by accepting reality as it is, we allow ourselves to let go of the suffering caused by resistance. It's not the circumstances themselves that bring us the most pain, but our attachment to how we believe things should be. Letting go complements acceptance by helping us release our grip on the past, on control, and on expectations. Many times we hold on to things because they feel familiar, safe, or even comforting, despite knowing that they may no longer serve us. We might cling to old habits, relationships, or dreams that we've outgrown, fearing the unknown that lies beyond. Letting go is a courageous act that requires us to trust in life's unfolding, even if we cannot see the full picture. By loosening our attachment, we make room for new experiences, new connections, and new opportunities. A key part of this journey is recognizing that acceptance and letting go are not one-time decisions, but ongoing practices. There will be days when it feels easy to accept things as they are, and others when resistance creeps back in. In these moments, it's helpful to remember that acceptance doesn't mean we approve of or agree with everything that happens. Rather, it means that we are choosing to live in harmony with reality instead of fighting against it. This choice liberates our energy, enabling us to focus on the aspects of life we can influence and control. Letting go often involves forgiving ourselves and others. Many of us carry burdens of guilt, regret, or resentment from past experiences. These emotions can weigh us down, clouding our present and preventing us from moving forward. When we forgive, we're not condoning harmful actions, but choosing to release the power they hold over us. Forgiveness allows us to let go of the past's grip on our lives, freeing us to experience the present with a sense of lightness and openness. Acceptance and letting go also apply to our self-image and inner expectations. Often we have ideas about who we should be, how we should act, or what we should achieve. These expectations can create pressure and self-judgment, especially when we fall short. By accepting ourselves as we are, flaws and all, we give ourselves permission to be human. Letting go of unrealistic standards enables us to cultivate self-compassion, which is essential for a healthy relationship with ourselves. This inner acceptance fosters a genuine sense of confidence and worth, rooted not in perfection, but in self-respect and understanding. Embracing these practices helps us navigate relationships in a healthier, more balanced way. Relationships are one of the richest aspects of life, yet they can also be a source of profound pain and frustration. We cannot control others' actions, thoughts, or feelings, and trying to do so often leads to disappointment. Acceptance in relationships means allowing others to be who they are, without trying to change them to fit our expectations. Letting go in this context means releasing our need for approval or validation, understanding that we are whole on our own. In moments of uncertainty or loss, acceptance and letting go become especially powerful. When we face change or grief, it's natural to experience a range of emotions: sadness, anger, confusion. Acceptance doesn't mean we push these feelings away. Rather, it encourages us to fully feel and honor them, knowing that they're part of our healing. Through acceptance, we acknowledge our pain without letting it define us, trusting that it will eventually transform into wisdom and strength. Letting go in this context means allowing ourselves to find peace even amid unresolved situations, realizing that we don't need to have all the answers to move forward. Learning to accept and let go is a journey that often reveals our inner strength and resilience. It is an act of self-love, a way of choosing peace over perfection, freedom over control. These practices remind us that life is fluid and ever-changing, that every ending carries within it the seeds of a new beginning. By embracing acceptance, we discover the beauty of living without rigid expectations, where we are free to evolve, adapt, and grow in ways we may not have imagined. When we let go, we find that life has a way of surprising us with new opportunities, joys, and connections. As we release old attachments and open ourselves to the present, we experience a lightness and clarity that allow us to appreciate the fullness of life. We see that acceptance and letting go are not acts of weakness, but powerful steps toward creating a life of inner peace and freedom. Through this journey, we come to realize that true strength lies not in holding on tightly, but in knowing when to release and trust life's natural flow. Trusting in life's direction is one of the most empowering practices we can adopt. It's about surrendering to the flow of life and believing that everything is unfolding as it should, even when we can't see the bigger picture. Life doesn't always go according to our plans, and at times it may seem as though we're heading in the wrong direction, facing obstacles or challenges that make us question our path. However, learning to trust life's direction is about recognizing that these detours, challenges, and moments of uncertainty are part of the journey. They serve to shape us, teach us, and guide us toward where we need to be. One of the key components of trusting life's direction is the understanding that control is often an illusion. We can plan, strategize, and work hard toward our goals, but there are always factors outside of our control. The weather, other people's actions, sudden life events, these are just a few of the things that can alter our course. Instead of resisting what we cannot control, trusting life means surrendering to the unknown, allowing ourselves to be guided by forces greater than our own. This doesn't mean we stop taking action or lose our drive. It means we become more open to the possibilities that lie beyond our current understanding. When we trust life's direction, we begin to see that there are no mistakes or coincidences. Every experience, every setback, and every challenge is a part of the process that is preparing us for something greater. We might not understand the reasoning behind difficult situations when they happen, but with time they often reveal themselves to be stepping stones leading us to the right place. Trusting life means having faith that even when things don't go according to plan, they're still leading us in the right direction, just not always in the way we expect. A powerful part of trusting life is learning to listen to our intuition. Intuition is often described as that inner knowing or gut feeling that guides us when we don't have all the answers. While logic and reasoning are important tools, intuition operates on a deeper level, tapping into our inner wisdom and life experience. Trusting life's direction means trusting that quiet voice within us. It may not always make sense in the moment, but when we learn to listen to it, we find ourselves making decisions that feel more aligned with our true selves. This practice helps us align with life's flow as we trust that our inner guidance is pointing us toward the right opportunities and experiences. Trusting life's direction also involves embracing uncertainty. Uncertainty can be unsettling, and the unknown can often feel like a threat to our sense of security. Yet when we embrace uncertainty, we open ourselves up to infinite possibilities. Life isn't always meant to be predictable, and sometimes the most magical moments happen when we least expect them. Trusting life's direction requires us to let go of the need for certainty and embrace the adventure of the unknown. It is in this space of uncertainty that growth occurs, as we learn to navigate life's challenges with resilience, courage, and faith in the process. Another aspect of trusting life is learning to release our attachment to specific outcomes. We often become fixated on the idea of how things should look or how we believe they will unfold. However, when we attach ourselves too rigidly to a certain outcome, we limit the flow of possibilities. Trusting life's direction means being open to outcomes that may not align with our initial vision but are still in our highest good. Life has a way of surprising us, often delivering things that are better than we could have imagined. When we let go of rigid expectations, we open ourselves to receiving life's gifts in unexpected ways. Trusting life's direction also requires us to practice patience. We live in a world that often values speed and instant gratification, but life doesn't always work on our timetable. Growth, healing, and progress take time, and sometimes the universe moves slowly, guiding us in ways that we might not immediately understand. Patience is an essential component of trust because it teaches us to surrender to life's rhythm and to trust that everything is unfolding in its own perfect timing. When we rush or try to force things, we often find ourselves exhausted and frustrated, but when we trust life's timing, we experience a sense of peace and assurance that things will work out as they are meant to. To trust in life's direction also involves cultivating gratitude for where we are right now. It's easy to become fixated on the future, on where we want to be, or what we think we should have achieved by now. However, when we take a step back and appreciate where we are, we realize that the present moment is a gift. Every experience, every person we meet, and every step we take is contributing to our growth and evolution. Gratitude helps us shift our focus from what's missing to what's already here, fostering a sense of contentment and trust in the journey. Ultimately, trusting life's direction is about surrendering to the natural flow of the universe. It's about accepting that we don't have to have all the answers or control every detail. Life will unfold as it's meant to. And our role is to show up with an open heart, an open mind, and a willingness to embrace what comes. Trusting life means trusting ourselves, and trusting the process, and trusting that everything is happening for a reason, even if that reason is not immediately clear. When we trust in life's direction, we find peace in the chaos, joy in the uncertainty, and a deep sense of trust in ourselves. We realize that we are exactly where we need to be, and that every experience is helping us grow into the person we are meant to become. The more we trust in life's direction, the more we invite grace, flow, and ease into our lives, allowing us to live with more freedom, purpose, and joy. Remembering self-love is a journey that many of us forget to take, as life's pressures often lead us to prioritize others or external expectations. It is easy to get caught up in the hustle of achieving goals, meeting deadlines, or fulfilling the needs of those around us. But when we forget to love ourselves, we lose touch with our true essence and inner strength. Self-love is not a luxury or a fleeting feeling, it is a necessity, a powerful practice that nurtures our well-being and creates a foundation for a fulfilling life. Self-love begins with understanding that we are worthy of love simply because we exist. It is not contingent upon our achievements, our appearance, or how well we perform in the eyes of others. The foundation of self-love is recognizing that we are inherently worthy and valuable. When we remember this, we stop seeking validation from external sources. We stop measuring our worth by the approval of others, and we start measuring it by our own standards. This shift in perspective is crucial for reclaiming our self-love. We must honor our worth not because of what we do, but because of who we are. To truly remember self-love, we must also practice kindness toward ourselves. The way we speak to ourselves is often harsh and critical, filled with judgments and expectations that we would never place on others. We would never tell a friend or loved one that they are not good enough, yet we do this to ourselves regularly. Self-love involves changing the narrative in our heads, replacing self-criticism with compassion and understanding. When we make mistakes, instead of berating ourselves, we must learn to say, I did the best I could, or I am learning and growing. This kindness toward ourselves allows us to grow from our experiences without the weight of shame or guilt. Another key component of remembering self-love is forgiveness. Many of us carry burdens from the past, guilt over things we've done, regret over decisions we've made, or shame for not meeting our own expectations. These emotional weights can keep us from truly loving ourselves. Forgiveness is not about condoning past actions or ignoring the lessons that come from our mistakes, but about releasing ourselves from the prison of self-punishment. We must remember that we are human, that we make mistakes, and that every experience is an opportunity for growth. When we forgive ourselves, we free our hearts to heal, making room for love and acceptance. Self-love also requires us to take care of our bodies, minds, and spirits. Often we neglect our physical, emotional, and spiritual needs in the pursuit of other people's approval or success. But true self-love is about giving ourselves the care, rest, and nourishment that we deserve. It is about setting boundaries to protect our energy and well-being, saying no when necessary, and creating space for relaxation, joy, and play. This may involve taking a break when we are tired, eating foods that nourish our bodies, or engaging in activities that bring us peace and happiness. When we take care of ourselves in these ways, we send a powerful message to our subconscious that we are worthy of love, care, and attention. Another important aspect of remembering self-love is learning to trust ourselves. Self-love is rooted in the belief that we are capable, strong, and resilient. We may face doubts or uncertainties at times, but trusting in our abilities and intuition is essential for building self-love. When we trust ourselves, we stop second-guessing our decisions and doubting our worth. We stop seeking external validation and learn to believe in our own judgment. This trust creates confidence, which fuels our ability to pursue our goals and dreams with passion and purpose. Trusting ourselves is a powerful act of self-love, because it affirms our ability to navigate life's challenges with grace and courage. It is also vital to remember that self-love is not a destination, but a practice, a daily commitment to treating ourselves with respect, compassion, and understanding. Life will always present challenges, and at times we may struggle with our self-worth. But in those moments, it's important to remember that self-love isn't something we achieve once and then forget about. It is something we actively choose every day. It's in the small moments when we choose to speak kindly to ourselves, when we take a moment to rest, or when we let go of the need for perfection, that self-love is cultivated and nurtured. Lastly, remembering self-love means embracing our uniqueness and celebrating who we are. We live in a world that often pressures us to conform, to fit into a mold, or to meet certain standards. But true self-love involves accepting ourselves fully without comparison or judgment. We must stop looking to others for the validation of our worth and instead look within. Embrace your individuality, your quirks, and the qualities that make you who you are. Celebrate the things that make you unique, and remember that your worth is not determined by how well you fit into society's expectations, but by the authentic love you give yourself. Remembering self-love is a journey, one that requires patience, practice, and dedication. It's a commitment to treating ourselves with kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. It's about recognizing our inherent worth and taking the time to care for ourselves emotionally, physically, and spiritually. It's about trusting ourselves, celebrating our uniqueness, and releasing the burdens of the past. When we remember self-love, we not only heal ourselves, but also create a ripple effect of love that impacts everyone around us. Ultimately, self-love is the key to living a fulfilled, joyful, and authentic life. It is the foundation upon which all other forms of love are built.